Hello and good morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another glorious morning session of your prayers. I just begin them, but you must finish them with your own heartfelt concerns. Finish them aloud in the privacy of your own home. There is only one God, and I know that for a fact. And I don't care how many people name God whatever they want, there's still only one God. There's another important thing, and that's that fear, well, God is love. I mean, I know it. I pray to God every day and I feel God's love, and I know He is healing me. I know He is watching over me. I know He's creating miracles all around me. But the thing to understand is that fear stops our ability to love. We cannot be terrified of somebody and still be able to love them. That's just physically impossible in our being. And so we try to remove our fears, but any way of prayer, method of prayer that says this is the only way is missing the point. They don't know God. God loves all His children, no matter what they name Him. And there is only one God. And if you've seen a divisive teaching, doesn't mean that it's evil, that it's wrong. It's just that they're creating fear of another religion, another group. And fear prevents their followers' ability to love. So fear is divisive. And fear between religions is absolutely absurd because there's only one God. Who cares what our personal name for God is? So it's important that we remove our fears and that we try really, really hard to see with discernment the teachings that are being taught to us. And if we see any divisive, meaning there is only one way and this is what you've got to do and there's no other way, and my book says so, it's wrong. Anything that creates fear is not God's work. So here I'll begin by saying my morning prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this wonderful method of prayer where you lead all of us in our heartfelt concerns, our heartfelt prayers, and let us join with you. I thank the generations that have brought this to us from the house of Abraham, the house of David, from Jesus, his mother Mary, his father Joseph, from Mary Magdalene, and Virginia Ellen, who finally wrote the book, Sacred Heart Yoga, so anybody can practice this ancient method of prayer any way they want. Amen. Now, at the beginning, we'll say a couple of prayers. The first one is Sacred Heart Yoga morning prayer. If you'll repeat after me, God, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to you, O God. And I allow myself to be purified of fear, as I rejoice in your kingdom of heaven and the love of you, O God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments that I share with my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul in oneness with you, O God. Om. Now we're going to, it's called clear our energy fields, and we're clearing them of fears, our energy field, our minds, our bodies. And we do this, we do it twice in Sacred Heart Yoga. This first time we do it as a prayer where we do a motion with our arm. We hold it up to the 12 o'clock position. We let it go over to the 3 o'clock position, our right knee, left knee, 9 o'clock position, and then back up to the 12 o'clock position with our right arm. As we do this, repeat after me. God, I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them into your love, your light, O God. Om. Now we are going to ask God, how may we serve you this day? We do this by putting our right hand over our hearts. The answer comes to me in no more than one or two words. And honestly, most of the time I don't understand them. I know I don't understand them completely, but I enter them into the rest of my prayers. And by the time I'm done, every single day, whether I get something, don't get something, every single day through prayer, God teaches me something. And I grow in his discernment. And so we'll begin by putting our right hands over our hearts. And I'll say the words and our prayers begin with, and that means you've got to finish them. If there's anything else that you want to add, you just do it. I'll give you plenty of time. And so, hands over our hearts, and our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we're going to stand up and announce out loud what came to us. We do this by standing straight and tall, putting our palms forward. And here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you this day is to Om. Now, in Aramaic, in Jesus' tongue, we sealed an oath to God or an oath to others, by saying the word Amen aloud 3 times. Well, here we're going to sing it aloud. Any tune that feels right to us, any tone that we want, as loud as we want. Amen. 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 Now we're going to sit back down on the mats, and this time lay down on our backs and get into what's called resting position. Our arms at our sides, our feet are outstretched, relaxed resting position. And the first thing we do is take our right knee and hold it up near our chest, and our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our right foot in our left hand. Our right knee falls down to the mat. Our right arm goes straight up above our heads, extended out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we switch hands with our right foot, take it over into our right hand, holding our foot down near our pelvis. Our left arm goes straight up above our heads down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we point our right foot up towards the heavens, holding it with our right hand. Left arm still above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we let our right foot fall out to the right side of our bodies. Our arms get stretched out straight to the sides from our chest down to the mat. Our right leg opens up our pelvis as wide as we can as it gets out to the right side down to the mat. Our arms are out, our palms are up. And here our prayers begin with God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we turn our heads to the right. Our right foot goes up over, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. Our right foot is lifted straight up and over and to the left side of our bodies, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with God, my Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we go back to resting position and we pull our left knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our left foot in our right hand, hold it over on our right thigh, and let our left knee fall down to the mat. Our left arm goes straight above our heads, stretched out down to the mat. And our prayers begin with God, my mother, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we switch hands with our taking our left foot in our left hand, and our right arm goes straight above our heads this time, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayer, holding our left foot near our pelvis, our prayers begin with God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we take our left foot up towards the heavens. And here our prayers begin with, God, my mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we let our left foot fall down to the mat, out to the left side of our bodies, opening our pelvis as wide as we can. Our arms again fall straight out to the sides, down to the mat, palms up. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we turn our heads to the left. Our left foot comes up over across our bodies over to the right side, down to the mat, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you with all my heart. And I thank you for all. Now we go back to resting position, legs outstretched, arms at our sides, and we pull both knees up to our chest, holding them there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you and I thank you for all. Now we hold our right foot and our right hand down near our pelvis and our left foot and our left hand down near our pelvis. Put the soles of our feet together, and here our prayers begin with, God, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we pull our feet apart, keeping them down near our pelvis. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we point both feet up towards the heavens, holding them there with our hands, and our prayers begin with, God, I truly love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we let our feet fall down to the mat right next to our pelvis. Knees are pointed kind of heavenward. Our arms fall straight out to the sides, once again, down to the mat. But this time our palms are down on the mat. We turn our heads to the left and take our knees over to the right side of our body, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, I love you, and I thank you for... Om. Now we turn our heads to the right, and our knees go over to the left side, down to the mat, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. And our prayers begin with, God, I love you with all my heart, and I thank you for... Om. Now we go back to resting position, and for a second time, we're going to try to eliminate our fears from our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and our souls. We do this by surrendering them to God. And so here we put our hands under our sit bones, lean forward on our elbows, try to touch the tops of our heads back down to the mat, and our prayers begin with, God, I surrender to you. Om. Now we go back to resting position and we reach for the heavens with our left hand. We let it fall over to the right side of our body, stretching our left shoulder and back. And we take our right hand halfway between our left elbow and left shoulder and stretch it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, in your name, I choose to. Om. Now we take our right hand up to the heavens and let it fall over to the left side of our bodies, stretching our right shoulder. And we take our left hand halfway between our right elbow and right shoulder, and here our prayers begin with, God, in your name, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position, arms at our sides, our feet outstretched. And we pull both feet up to our pelvis, soles of our feet down on the mat, and we let our knees fall out to the outside, forming a triangle below our bodies. And this is a tabernacle, a house of God. We form a second tabernacle over our hearts by putting our hands in prayer position over our hearts, extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And a tabernacle is a house of God. In this house of God over our hearts, we find God's beautiful chalice filled with any gift, anything we could ever desire, want, or need. As long as we use them in service of God, service to God, we will always be able to keep them. And so here we drink from God's chalice, and our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts to me of. Om. Now we keep our hands in prayer position, put them right at the tops of our heads down to the mat. Let our elbows fall out to the sides, down to the mat. We're forming a tabernacle, a house of God over our entire bodies. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we're going to start what's called the Anointing Series, and it's a series of 4 prayers, four positions, but we repeat them 3 different times. So we'll start the first in the series by putting our thumbs to our foreheads. We keep our hands in prayer position throughout all 3 of the series. So our thumbs go to our foreheads and hands in prayer position, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips. And here our prayers begin with, God, I bless and I promise to only use them in service to you, your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for your gifts to me of. Om. Now, the 4th prayer position is actually a movement where we move our hands, we do a motion. We take our fingers, our hands in prayer position, we point them down into our abdomens, extend them straight out to above our pelvis, which is like the 3 o'clock position on the hour, the hands of a clock. And we let them go back up to the 12 o'clock position and then the 9 o'clock position over our heads. And as we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our thumbs to our foreheads, start the 2nd out of 3 in the series. And here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of. Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips. And here our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I promise to only use them in service to you, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands in prayer position over our hearts, and our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we point our hands down into our abdomens, extend them out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we start the third and final in the series, the anointing series. And so take our thumbs back to our foreheads, and here our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I promise to only use them in your service, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position, and here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we point our fingers down into our abdomens, extend our arms out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we go back to resting position. Legs outstretched, arms at our sides. Our right knee, our right ankle goes over our left ankle. Our right hand, our wrist goes over our left wrist, over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for always protecting me, for keeping me safe. Om. Now we roll over on our sides, pushing ourselves back up into sitting position using our arms and our hands. We extend our right leg straight out in front of us down to the mat, our knee down to the mat. Our left foot goes across our right knee, and we hold our left knee with our right arm. Our left arm goes behind our backs for support. And here our prayers begin with, desire I am, desire I am, desire I know. God, in your name, I desire to. Om. Now we switch legs. Our left leg goes straight out in front of us, knee down to the mat. Our right foot comes over our left knee. Our left arm holds our right knee, and our right arm goes behind our backs for support. We twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the right, and here our prayers begin with, will I am, will I am, will I am. God, in your name, I will. Om. Now we get up on our knees. Put our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for Om. Now we form a tabernacle with our hands by putting the tips of our thumbs together and the tips of our first fingers together. And we put this tabernacle, this house of God, down on the mat, and we put our foreheads into it, leaning over in child's pose. And here we just feel God's presence. Imagine it, know it in the world around us, and feel God's presence filling every cell in our bodies, healing us. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. Our right leg goes out to the right side. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, in your name, I will. Om. Now we switch legs. Our left leg goes out to the left side. Our right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, in your name, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. And we sit straight and tall. We put our hands on our knees, our thumbs touching our middle two fingers. And we bow forward by bowing at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to you, God, for healing my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall a second time. And we bow forward at our pelvis once again. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to you, God, my Father, my Mother, the One, the Oneness. Om. Now we sit back up straight and tall again, and we feel we're grounded down to the mat on the left side and right side of our pelvis. On the left side of our pelvis, we feel God's white light entering our bodies, God's love filling our legs to the fullest, to the tips of our toes, filling our abdomens, every cell and every organ with God's light, God's love, coming up through our hearts. This white light fills our hearts like beacons to the world. It fills our lungs with every breath. It fills our arms to the tips of our fingers. God's white light comes up through our throats and into our minds and goes out the tops of our heads, filling the sky as far as we can imagine in all directions. And it expands out upon the whole earth and rains down upon every living creature. God's love. Now we feel on the right side of our pelvis God's blue light of truth. This blue light fills every cell in our legs to the tips of our toes. It fills every cell in our abdomens, every organ. It fills our hearts completely and our lungs with every breath. Our arms to the tips of our fingers, our throats, our heads, our minds. Goes out the tops of our heads and fills the skies above us as far as we can imagine. And it rolls out across the whole earth. And the blue light of God's truth rains down upon every living creature for them to accept if they want to. Now we can step up into the light above our heads, stay as long as we want, ask anything we want. But the one thing we should always ask before we leave is, God, what do I need to know this day?